U.S. Attorney to the District, Washington, D.C., Jeanine Pirro, laying out how they got to hate crimes charges against the man who killed that young couple and two other people in May outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum. Of course, we know Yaron and Sarah, as you see pictured here, were staffers at the Israeli embassy. And we've only heard the initials of the other two, but even those were spoken today. And out of respect, we will do the same, CS and AT, because this case is about all four of them. Republican Congressman Mike Lawler of New York, member of the bipartisan task force for combating anti-Semitism, is with me now. We watched that live. There were so many points that we were both reacting to. For instance, I don't know if people remember, January 20th, there was something that the president of this United States did. He put back into play capital punishment at a federal level. How does that affect this case?
No question. And obviously, as Judge Jeanine laid out, they will be going through a rigorous review in pursuit of the death penalty. And ultimately, the Attorney General will make that determination whether or not Judge Jeanine can pursue that in this case. But this goes to a bigger point. 70% of hate crimes in this country are targeted towards Jews. They make up 2% of the population in the United States. We have seen a rapid rise in anti-Semitism long before October 7th. But in the aftermath of it, you have a situation like this where a deranged, evil person took it upon himself to target people based on their perceived and actual natural origin, and to kill them because they were Israeli, to kill them because they are Jews. And that fundamentally must be prosecuted. 98% of anti-Semitic hate crimes are not prosecuted in this country.
Why is that?
Because I think people have hidden for a very long time behind this idea, the Palestinian-Israeli fight, and they've allowed this to fester. And this notion that anti-Zionism is somehow not anti-Semitism. It is outrageous. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. It's why I have fought so hard to pass the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, to make sure that anti-Semitism is defined in federal statute very clearly, and that we hold people accountable for not only the violation of civil rights, but for these hate crimes. And so I am extremely gratified that Jeanine Pirro has moved forward with hate crime charges. I think that is vital to not only send a message, but to start to hold individuals accountable. These kids that are protesting in the street, they think because they're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, that there's no consequence. There needs to start being consequences, well, and that's what she talked about tonight.
You and I can agree that they're young people, but if you can fight in a war in this country, you're over the age of 18, you're not a child.
Nope.
You're not a kid. You're a young person, you're a young adult, but that's where it stops and ends there. And I think that the U.S. Attorney of D.C., Jeanine Pirro, just made that very clear for her district particularly. So you threw out some numbers there. I often have said when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were both running for president at one point or the other, one or the other of them, that we have an anti-Semitism problem in the Democratic Party. I didn't say every single person, but this was on Biden's watch. Look at this. The Anti-Defamation League tracked indictments of anti-Semitic harassment, vandalism, and assault in the United States. So that was from 2023 to 2024. And in that time period, we saw numbers escalate precipitously. The numbers show an 893% increase in the last 10 years total, including more than 9,000 incidents in 2024 alone. So the largest percentage of that jump happened between 23 and 24. That tells me not only was it allowed to fester, but there must have been some incitement, some incentive to keep that going and not help people based on their faith.
Look, when you look at what happened on October 7th, that was a direct result of what is taught in Palestinian schools in Gaza. With the help of UNRWA and the United Nations, they are taught to hate Jews. When you listen to that audio of the young Palestinian man call home to his parents and say, Mom, Dad, I just killed 10 Jews with my bare hands, and repeat it over and over and over, and his parents praising Allah. That level of hatred is taught. And if we don't deal with this in the United States and root out this hatred of Jews, this will continue. And as far as I'm concerned, as Judge Jeanine pointed out, you have policies in Washington, D.C., in New York, raise the age where you have 16 and 17-year-olds participating in violent gang activity, violent crime, and they're getting a slap on the wrist in family court. This needs to stop. You need to be held accountable. If you are violating someone's civil rights, that is a crime. But moreover, if you are committing violent offenses, if you are physically assaulting, or in this case, murdering people based on the fact that they are Israeli or Jews, they absolutely need to be held accountable, and I hope the death penalty is pursued here.
Well, look, I gave that number, 893% increase over 10 years, and I said the biggest chunk was under Biden. I said that because 344% of that increase happened the previous 5 years. I mean, this is something that we have to get our arms around. And this particular leader and Jeanine Pirro, along with the president, they are focused on it. Great to see you today.
You too. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you were here for the breaking news. We have been hearing.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.